Okay, so I just wanted to make a quick video about this. I actually found a time save in the any percent speedrun of Tie 2. So here in the area of the Sulphur rocks, this is one of the final areas we go to in the third chapter, I think it is. So normally what the speedrun does is after they leave the area here and goes through this next area to leave this part and go back to Shazza's truck and leave the area, they walk through this whole open area that's past this gate here. And I'm actually going to time this as well, which is why I have live split open. I'm going to show you how long it takes to walk through this open area to get to the truck. So I'm just going to start once the door opens. So if I walk all the way through and avoid all the frills. So it takes about 21 seconds, maybe 20 seconds. So what I found is that there's a way you can save some time on this walk here, and it might even come up in later areas as well. So the way that Tie 2 works is major areas of the game are actually split up by these doors here. When certain, like you go through these doors, chunks of the game get unloaded. Like the area I just came from got completely unloaded, and the new area gets loaded. Now, with the way that death and dying works in Tie is when you die, you get reloaded at the nearest outhouse or the checkpoints as they are. Now, when you're in here and you're finishing up the last few missions before you leave, it's possible to take some damage without losing a whole lot of time, because there's a couple areas in this spot where you have to wait for saw blades to move anyway. So you could use that time to take some damage. And then, say now we leave Sulphur Rocks with 1 HP. And now what I'm going to do is, instead of walking that distance, I'm going to instead just get killed. So we'll time that one as well. Eight seconds. So the reason why this works is because when Sulphur Rocks deloads, there is no active checkpoint. There is no active checkpoint for the game to put me at anymore, and it can't put me in an unloaded area. When I load Sulphur Rocks, there's a checkpoint that is active when I'm in there, but once that map is deloaded, it can't put me back in there. So it has to put me at the only active checkpoint from that point on, which just so happens to be right here by the truck. So if you take damage while waiting for the saw blades and various other ways to just farm damage in Sulphur Rocks while you're finishing up the missions, you can death warp by using one of the frills here to put you at this checkpoint. And this is possible that it's useful in other areas. This is just a one that I found while casually playing through the game. I actually did that on an accident. And then when I warped there, when I reloaded at that checkpoint, I was like, I wonder if the speedrun does that. And so I watched the current any percent record, and they don't. So while it's not a huge time save, it's possible that this actually can be utilized in other areas as well that aren't right here. But yeah, so that's a 12-second time save in itself, just that one death warp. And it may lose a second or two taking damage. Like I said, there are some spots where you have to wait for these saw blades to move anyway, so you can just take damage on the saw blades while you're waiting for them to move out of the way. But yeah, I think it would still be worth it to death warp there, and I'll still have to mess with it in other areas as well, but it certainly saves time to just death warp when you enter new areas like this. And it could probably be, like I said, utilized in other spots in the game that have these huge open areas, but this was just the one that I found.